All right, guys, welcome back to Wide Awake News Radio. I am your host, Charlie McGrath, and we are continuing on. Eric Lovely is with us, and we're in a second going to have Shep of the Intel Hub joining us from the Bilderberg meeting. So get ready for that. And now, hopefully, Brett, you got that message to get Shep on the phone. And I'm going to start off with just real quickly. I want to talk about the news that is out today that isn't news whatsoever. I'm sure Eric probably covered some of this in the second half of the program, but I know he did some of it in the first half. But listen, look, the status quo wants us looking at Mitt Romney. He's the choice, right? He's the choice of the bought and paid for Republicans. He clinches Texas. Obama gives him a call. They shake hands. They're off to the races. The silly freak show season can begin. We're going to talk about gay marriage. We're going to talk about everything and anything other than what is affecting this country and where we're going as a nation, and as a planet. Now, that's just for the people that dare to care about their political system, dare to look at the two-party system, and even buy into that. Most of the people don't even buy into that. That's why we have such low numbers of people voting, even though this go-around it might be a little bit higher. But the fact is, you're going to be voting for what? The blue or the red team. They're playing for the exact same players. There's nothing being talked about in today's mainstream that points to where we're at now. The real decisions that are going to be made are the ones that are being made in Virginia. Now, I have a big, long video that I already shot and a rant I wanted to go in on, but you know what? We only got Shep for a half hour, and then we're going to bring on Raven Clabo, talk about some of her recent work. But let's bring Shep on. Shep is the base founder of the intelhub.com, doing absolutely fantastic work. Their stuff's been featured now on I've seen it on Zero Hedge. I've seen it on Drudge. They're everywhere. So, Shep, I'm really happy that you were able to put together the contributions to get down to Bilderberg and bring us a report. And this is the spirit of alternative media. You know, Shep isn't only coming on Wide Awake News to talk about his adventures in Virginia. They're also going on multiple alternative media channels, multiple alternative media websites and radio programs. So, Shep, thank you very much. I burned up enough time. How are you? How are things in Virginia?
Well, it's been a pretty hectic day. I mean, we've just been nonstop since our flights landed the other day, preparing for this, doing all the reconnaissance. We went in yesterday. We drove around the perimeter. We scouted it out. We actually drove into the Westfields Marriott complex here in Chantilly, Virginia. Saw numerous, I would say there was at least 10 to 15 Fairfax County police, possibly federal police. They were in unmarked cars as well. Actually securing the complex. They were pre-securing it. And so what that tells me right off the bat is that our taxpayer dollars are now being used to protect these globalist scum that attend the Bilderberg meeting. So we went there this morning quite early. We were the first ones into the complex. We actually went into the Westfield Marriott Park. We were going to try and have breakfast over there. However, security came over. We were filming and kicked us right out. We were the last people to get kicked out before they ramped up full force security and actually blocked off the driveway about 500 feet back in the main entrance, Charlie. If you can imagine, there's a in and out entrance. They
Sure.
blocked that off 500 feet back in there. They started putting Fairfax County police officers in there and private security. And,
Okay, well, let me ask you this: how many, as far as protesters go? I mean, and I'm not considering you a protester. I'm considering you a member of the legitimate media down there. But as far as protesters, what are you seeing? I mean, is the number starting to swell?
Yeah, absolutely. I would say there was we left probably 3 or 4 hours ago and came back to the hotel because we're dumping some of our footage and our shots. We're probably one of, if not the only ones. I was basically paparazziing it right into the windows of the Bilderbergers, jumping over the barriers, kind of dodging the cops. I was able to make friends with the lead cop there, and then eventually he was actually holding the Bilderbergers off. in some way, I believe, to allow me to run up to the cars and film it. The other cops were not really happy about that.
So where were you? You were filming them behind the 500-foot no walk zone? Or?
No, I was actually 3 inches away from their car at all times. I was the only reporter actually doing that. So we actually went over. We've got at least 13 to 15 Bilderberg members. We've got clear photos of. We're going to identify. We've already identified them. Webster Tarpley's over here now with his master list. This guy is incredible. He knows everything. So he's sitting here with Jason Burmis, Webster Tarpley, Alex Thomas of the Intel Hub, and we're now going to. We think we're going to be able to identify 13 to 15 Bilderberg members and actually confirm it, and we're going to release their photographs on theintelhub.com.
When are you putting that information out?
We're going to try and do it tonight.
Awesome. Great work. I want to get Eric in here because he's hanging out, and I know he's got some questions for you. So, Eric, take it.
Oh, well, for me, I mean, I would have to say that it isn't so much questions that, we talk about the fascism and the fascist nation. This is where you are. People who are starting to cover this, people who are becoming engrossed in it, they're starting to see firsthand that it is a fascist nation, because when the people go to protest, they get beat up by the thugs. When businessmen, these huge monopoly men, these power brokers come along, they get protected by the thugs. So, I mean, if they have government paid security, then they're in bed with the government. I mean, they're really, whenever you see protesters get together, what protest have you ever seen that has government paid security for them? It doesn't happen.
Yeah. Right. So, it's a pretty interesting, there wasn't only Fairfax County Police protecting them. We were seeing members of the Secret Service and what looked to be FBI as well. So, I mean, these guys are heavily, it actually makes me sick that our tax dollars are paying for this, like you just mentioned. It's pretty much backwards of how this should actually transpire. But
go ahead, Eric.
Before we jump back in there, I did have one question. There was there have been people who have been asking me about the Bilderberg Group, and there was supposedly a French delegation coming to the Bilderberg Group and a German delegation. I don't know if the actual PMs were coming or if the president was coming, or if it was one of their, whoever they anointed to go and visit the Bilderberg Group in their name, whoever the Bilderberg Group would accept. But have you seen any of those kind of delegations yet?
There's some pretty interesting people. We're still in the process of identifying people, but yes, there's the official list is on theintelhub.com now, and it looks pretty official because Jones posted it earlier, and we obviously picked it up. I don't know. I haven't actually seen it. I don't know where the source came from. I don't even think it was a Jones source, but I'm not positive. And so Alex Thomas posted it. We have that list, but it looks like it's fairly accurate because everyone we've identified so far, I believe, is on the list. So I would consider the list fairly accurate, and that's posted at theintelhub.com right now. In terms of protesters, I know you were mentioning that earlier, Charlie, all types of protesters, anywhere from 9/11 truthers to, just anyone and everyone was there. I mean, these people were coming from across the country. There was people there from California just to attend this thing, and they were really letting the Bilderberg Group have it. If you can imagine, there was a 6-foot chain link fence surrounding the Westfields Marriott property on the front face, almost like they were preparing for record crowds, which I do think this event's going to escalate. I think tomorrow's going to be twice the size, at least, maybe even more, because we're in the middle of a weekday right now.
Right.
And
I want to ask, do you know, can you give us any clues to the schedule as far as you know? I mean, what is the plan for these guys for the weekend? I mean, it doesn't ramp up really till tomorrow, right?
Yeah, we think that tomorrow they'll be behind closed doors starting their meetings. They're all kind of arriving. I don't know if there'll be we think there might be some late arrivers tomorrow. I'm going to go try and capture their mugshots as well. There's actually one of the globalists we haven't identified yet. I know I wrote an article one time and it was talking about pot-bellied globalists I think I was talking about Kissinger, but there's actually a pot-bellied globalist in this picture I caught, and I'm really interested in who that is, just because it's funny to me. But protesters all walks of life. There was a couple provocateurs. They got actually kind of left rather quickly because people on the megaphones were exposing them. And then we got one strange picture, we don't know what to make of it, of a provocateur wearing a bandana that we think was a provocateur earlier, actually entering the Bilderberg group in a Bilderberg car, just like the other guys were. So we don't know what to make of that yet. It's pretty interesting.
I want to jump in with another pretty pertinent question, and you know, I think that the listeners should pay attention, since we provided how to contact you and so forth. You know, hopefully the listeners from all the broadcasts who are listening to us can pitch in with whatever the you know, the ending of this question is. But with pre-crimes now on the table, okay, the prosecution of pre-crime is now officially on the table inside the United States of America. Do you guys have volunteer lawyers or something like that on your team? You know, because at some point the Bilderberg is going to look for a retaliatory example. They're going to try to make an example out of someone, and you're there and you're in their face. Do you guys have a team of guys that are together reviewing and preparing some type of defense or something of that nature? I feel that at this point in the juncture, that would be rather intelligent of the Intel Hub.
Or anybody attending.
We have contingency plans. We know a lot of people. You know, it's something that, you know, I'm not really scared of it, Charlie. I'm just going to do my thing. And I demonstrated that today as I chased down a Bilderberg car. The whole crowd saw it. It was probably streamed live somewhere. Someone probably caught it. I actually chased down one of these cars, snapping pictures the whole way, and they were taking evasive maneuvers, and it was pretty interesting.
It is a very, very critical time. You know, these Bilderberg meetings, always big decisions seem to come out of them. But that's interesting that Eric's hearing or seeing reports that maybe Germany and French delegations would show up here. I mean, obviously the European debt crisis is going to be talked about there, maybe even who the next president of this country is going to be. You know, have you been able to sit down and talk with Webster Tarpley? I know a lot of these people have, they claim to have.
Webster Tarpley, his main thing he's talking about right now is this Peel guy, and he's I believe, the founder of PayPal. I think he has something to do with Facebook or something like that, or owns a portion of some other social network. I can't think of it off the top of my head. It might be Facebook. It might not. But this Peter Thiel, I believe is his name, Tarpley was rambling on how he's a funder of Ron Paul. So we've got the Bilderbergers funding Ron Paul.
Unreal. Is there any mention of the Logan Act? I mean, is anybody holding up signs saying you're violating the Logan Act? You're all committing a felony, at least if you're from the United States and you're negotiating with these foreign governments. I mean, this is what it is. They're deciding global policy at these meetings.
Absolutely scandalous, Charlie. And yeah, there was the Bullhorners were there, Matt Medina and Cody Hess, and they were just giving it to them. They really mentioned the Logan Act. They were telling the police in the area that they were in violation of their oath, and you know.
And what did the local police? Chip, what did the local police? What I mean, because I don't mean this disparagingly, but they're drones in this. They're told to go out and do this thing. You said you bellied up and friended up with one of these guys. Do they understand what they're doing? Do they understand what they're guarding?
I think the majority of them do. They look scared. They actually look scared for their jobs. I had one come up and poke me in the chest and stand in front of me. You see in those martial law videos, kind of just like took a pretty good stance and was like standing 1 foot in front of me, and he's like, "You're not gonna film these guys anymore." And I just kind of like got out of there and went around the side, and then I kind of bypassed them, and then eventually I somewhat made contact with what appeared to be the head of the police, and of course he knew exactly who I was and everything. He was pretty much probing me. I didn't really care if he was trying to get intel at that point. I could tell there was something in him, a little spark of awakeness, and he eventually was letting me get away with a lot of stuff.
Well, it's without a doubt. I mean, looking at where we're at times, as far as time, as the culmination of the sovereign debt crisis that was private, debt crisis. Now it's sovereign debt crisis. This is all coming to a head. Look at what's coming to a head inside of Syria, inside of Iran. What's going on politically, geopolitically, and financially around the world. This is without a doubt. I'm confident that some major earth-changing decisions are going to be discussed in those doors 500 feet away from where you're covering down there.
Sure. I was talking with Luke last night, Luke Radowski. He just confronted Ted Turner, and I believe he said something like, I heard you want to depopulate 500 million people, and Ted turned to him and said, more like 2 billion. So they want, 1 out of 3 of us must go, or 2 out of 3 of us, whatever the math works out to. That's what they want. And I think that depopulation is probably on their agenda. We got Kissinger on the Friends of Bilderberg committee. We got Rockefeller. These are known eugenicists. Kissinger responsible for writing NSSM 200, National Security Memorandum 200. I believe it came out in 1954, if I remember right. I don't have it sitting in front of me. But this basically dealt with a depopulation agenda, and they were pretty much coming right out. Kissinger was basically coming right out in this white paper and saying, hey, we basically need to depopulate these third world nations. There could be food. He weighed out all this stuff, and stunningly, his analysis was fairly accurate as far as the numbers of, what the population growth would be by certain periods. And according to him, the Earth would be so much more populated right now if they didn't take these evasive maneuvers. And I believe they did take all these maneuvers and exterminate people. And basically is what it left him with the number that he was kind of predicting in this thing. And this was years ago. So this guy pretty much knew what they wanted to do. They knew what they were going to do, and they've essentially carried out depopulation in every form, as you know.
But if their goals are to be achieved, I mean, if their goals are truly to be met, this is just a warm up.
Well, that and if you really think about it, humans are pretty resilient, and they, basically, if they didn't depopulate us, I mean, we would dominate the planet. These globalists would have no chance. But I really think they have been pushing hard on depopulation agendas. And like you said, I mean, I really think they're going to turn up the heat at one point. I mean, they don't build mass graves for nothing and have FEMA coffins sitting around for nothing. So, this type agenda will probably start seeing hit us heavier and heavier, more toxins in the water, more chemtrails in the air. More GMO foods, and this is just going to wreak havoc.
Yeah, let me kick it over to Eric. We only have you for about another minute. So, Eric, did you have anything else you want to comment on or ask of Shep?
Well, no. I mean, other than looking at their schedule as to how they're going to cover, and comparing that to the schedule of the Bilderbergs. What are you guys going to do when? I mean. Do they stay in the compound the entire day?
Sure.
Do they leave for lunch?
Most of them are probably going to lock themselves in there and just go ahead and stay in there because they're actually scared of the media coverage. The expressions on some of these Bilderbergers' face in the pictures, you guys will see them all at theintelhub.com. Hopefully tonight or by the morning. Some of them were arrogant, and some of them just were actually scared. There was some putting newspapers up. I actually missed the picture of David Rockefeller. My camera did not fire, and it was pretty disappointing because I was right next to him.
Hey, let me ask you real quick. If we want to follow your activity down there, where do I go to look? I see you have streaming video on YouTube of the.
Sure, we didn't. Our stream didn't go live today. We had some problems, and we just couldn't deal with it, so we just totally X that out. But you guys are going to be amazed by this other footage we got. Tomorrow we're going to do live streaming most of the day, so you can to go to the tab Bilderberg 2012 at the top of the intelhub.com. But most importantly, we're getting ready to update the site. You guys got to imagine we've been like commandoing it all day.
Oh, yeah.
And nonstop radio interview after radio interview. So,
one more thing, real quick. Are you guys do you guys have the angles to have any coverage of the grounds during the period? I mean, are you guys going to be able to like see the pool and whatnot?
We didn't get that far in. We got to the front of the turnabout where you drop the guests off. We have some footage like that we'll get, but pretty much we're on the outside in, and we're getting the Bilderbergers pulling in. We've got excellent shots of the crowd, some great interviews with everyone, including Charlie Skelton, just random people that were there, predominant key figures of the alternative media and activists and protesters.
Go ahead, Eric.
That's what I wanted to say. I wanted to thank him for being here and appreciate you and allowing me to be here with him. You know, talking about the Bilderberg meeting and actually talking about somebody who was there. Man, you know, it's very rare. So I appreciate it.
Shep, theintelhub.com. Visit it, check it out, follow it during all the time, but over this weekend to get more updates on the Bilderberg. Shep, if you get the chance to call in, just give me a text and you're on. So, all right, man. Thank you very much.
We'll do that.
All right.
Thanks so much.
You bet. I appreciate it. Eric, thanks for hanging out with me. Guys, here's a commercial break. We're way long. Here you go.